Jarmo Kekalainen was finally mercifully let go yesterday. It's interesting because I think the thing that did him in is everybody. It's not the overall play of the team and that sort of thing or where they're going as a franchise. I think his job was done once Babcock got fired, and it was just a matter of time before the Blue Jackets found out yet again that they've put an extraordinarily flawed team on the ice. Now, what's interesting about the firing, and Steve did a video about this on the SDPN channel, is that the architect of Jarmo's time in Columbus, the guy who kept him there this long, is now the interim GM. Now, we know that the Columbus Blue Jackets ownership are, in a vacuum, it's a perfect situation. Super rich, own the team, don't get involved too much in the hockey ops side. But with John Davidson there, how many playoff games have they played in the last 12, 13, 14 years, however long he's been there?
It's not just like playoff games played. It's series won, and they've won 1.5.
Yeah, the Leafs one is a half.
Yeah, and
it's a play-in.
And I know, like I was getting chirped by Blue Jackets fans, like, oh, a Leaf fan criticize. Do not hold yourself to the standard of the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah, you hold yourself to like Boston or Vegas or something like that.
Please,
Tampa.
As a Leaf fan, please aim higher.
Yeah.
For the love of God, have some pride. I know they've been bad. I've documented actually quite extensively how bad they've been. The Blue Jackets have been every bit as bad, if not worse.
They had the crazy win against the Leafs that no one was expecting, and then they had the crazy comeback against the Lightning that no one was expecting. But that is it.
I think some people expected the Leaf one, but
okay, fair enough.
The Lightning one was very unexpected. There was one thing in the video that I was a little unfair about. I talked about them finishing, I think it was third in their division one year, which is true, but they were fourth in the league. But they didn't do shit. They didn't do anything ever.
That was the John Tortorella clip of when they lost in the first round to the Penguins.
Oh, well,
that 2017 was when they finished fourth in the league. Yeah, they were down 3-0. The Penguins, they win one game, they lose 4-1 the first round.
Oh, do we give teams a pass for playing a tough opponent now? Oh, good news, Leaf fans. Like, don't worry. All the losses to Boston and Tampa. The Columbus one is the only one that counts. Oh, and the Habs. Oh, but only those two. So really, they've only lost in the first round twice.
No, I think what it is that
good news.
Mike Stevens made a really good point on
he didn't.
Twitter last night. He
Shut
said,
up,
"Listen,
Mike.
we can laugh about the Jarmo Kekalainen stuff, and I don't think anyone's like laughing.
No,
but he said whoever gets in there." Say what you want about the current on ice product. They have a ton of great prospects and a ton of great draft picks and a good future ahead. I do think, though, the issue is the person who is remaining is the person that kept Jarmo there as long as he did. And I wonder in Columbus, how much change is really going to happen? If you go back and you listen to the Mike Babcock episode where he got fired, I went through the press conference where they introduced Mike Babcock, and they talked about how they did their due diligence. And how did they do their due diligence in hiring Mike Babcock? They talked to all of Mike Babcock's friends. One of them specifically was Ken Holland. And when they said due diligence, it's like, no, actually you didn't. You ignored your responsibility in business, and hockey is a business, to find the best candidate available. You wanted Mike. You went to a bunch of guys who said, Mike's a great guy, because you knew that they would. You knew Ken Hitchcock was going to give you the heads up because they'd worked together. And a couple other guys, they're not even worth mentioning because I can't even remember them.
Due diligence would have been calling Frank Corrado.
Yeah. Yeah. Due diligence. Exactly. Call Johan Franz and ask him how he feels. Well, and I think, or Valtteri Filppula, who refused to come to the Leafs under Mike Babcock in a trade at the 16-17 trade deadline. There are things that I'm concerned about for the Blue Jackets. They've got great prospects. We've talked about it. They do have great talent on that roster, and they've got an opportunity to move players around and grab some great assets. Apparently, they were in on Elias Lindholm, and it came really close. Why? I don't know. And this is the problem. The Lindholm thing is the thing that freaks me out.
Well,
because I don't
think them out.
What's that?
I think it freaked them out.
What, Columbus?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, why would you fire him now? I think they were happy to let him do the rest of the season, let him go into the trade deadline, and at some point he's like, here's what I got going on for the trade deadline, and I think those above him were like, what are you talking about? That's the only fathomable reason I can think of. that for the timing.
I like that logic
They
because the timing doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah, it doesn't make. Oh yeah, we're gonna let him go. Let him go. Let him go. Hey, what do you got on the run? Oh, that's all stupid.
They didn't trust this person to go through March 8th.
So my question is, the guy that kept him there all these years and advocated for him, do you trust him?
No, not even a little.
But there's no one above him that's making a decision.
Because the family likes John Davidson.
Well, I heard a rumor.
What did you hear?
I got a little tip. Now, this is a ways away. I don't think they're doing this now. I think they would obviously wait until, at very minimum, just before the draft. I think this is something that probably won't happen until at least May. But the name I heard bandied about for the vacant Columbus GM job is Mark Hunter of the London Knights. Well, how does that make any sense? He was the AGM with the Leafs. Mm-hmm. We know that. The Columbus Blue Jackets are deeply, deeply tied into the London Knights organization. Rick Nash is, their most treasured son. And he was a London Knight for a very long time. I believe he's part of the organization now. And Basil McRae, who is the assistant GM of the Blue Jackets, I believe is also one of the co-owners of the London Knights. He's very high up in the London Knights, and he was part of that organization for a long time. So when I heard that rumor, it made a little too much sense to me. They didn't say it was a done deal, but I've gotten good information from them before. So let's see.
Interesting. Well, and Mark Hunter, who famously resigned from the Leafs when he didn't get the general manager's job, and nobody has come after him for it since.
Dude,
he's not even been in rumors. That's interesting.
That let's say he does become the GM of the Blue Jackets. That first game against the Leafs is going to be a huge money on the board game. He was not happy about how that went down. He wanted that job.
I wonder how that did go down, because it seems like he was unhappy, Lou was unhappy. And Lou said in his opening press conference in Toronto, like, if Kyle doesn't take it over for me in the next, or, after this 3-year deal is up, then something's wrong. And then all of a sudden he's like, nah, I don't like that.
Actually, I think I'm going to stay.
That's weird, huh?
I'm going to stay. I'm going to actually, you know what? I've decided I'm going to go to New York, take a team that on paper should be in last, and make the playoffs.
One of the things that Greg Wyshynski was saying, and we'll talk about this a little bit later because I don't want to get into it right now, when he was on our All-Star panels at All-Star, he was saying that the trade deadline's not looking like great names, blah, blah, blah. I wonder if they are veering off of what Jarmo's plan was, which is add more veteran talent, please stop playing rookies. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, we've got great rookies, let's never play them. Which has been the Columbus Blue Jackets year, the entire year.
Totally.
How do we make it harder for Juracek and Ken Johnson to establish themselves in the NHL? Could we make it harder? I wonder if that opens up some names that we weren't really expecting. Is a Provorov available? Is Johnny Gaudreau either now or this summer? Like, does he fit into whatever the next plan is? Because it was very clear that they wanted to have good rookies and strong veterans, right?
I think it's a reasonable assumption that Johnny Gaudreau would probably welcome
a move somewhere. Yeah.